don't know if they're just saying this, but it seems like they don't really know where it's going to be going. If it were to go in Hammond. But from my understanding, from the conversations I've had, they're planning on going on the Lost Marsh Golf Course in Hammond. On today's Small Business Talk, Adam and I discuss the Bears' potential move to Hammond, Indiana, and how we think that's going to impact our businesses. We also talk about some other general sports topics and how the seasonality of those events we think will impact our businesses. And we also give some updates on what's been going on in the world of home design, home building, and restaurants and real estate. Okay, let's go. Okay, today is Tuesday, March 3rd, and we are finally back after a super long hiatus. Adam and I have both had a lot going on in the world of work and what we've been working on just in terms of our businesses. So it is fun to get back together. We're here at Lenny's again at one of my restaurants. And yeah, Adam, so what's been going on in the world of home design? What have you been up to during this time? Obviously, we've talked a lot because we're cousins and we're on some group threads and whatnot. But what's been going on with work for you?
I just got back from the Builders Show. It's a conference in Orlando. It was really fun. This year, I made a real genuine effort to do some better networking. I've gone in years past and just kind of hung with my crew. You know, we'd go with the Steiner Homes team and we just hang out, and they're awesome. But I was like, I want to make some contacts outside of just my immediate work environment. And yeah, I ran into a couple guys that I met through social media or podcasting, and then they introduced me to other people, and yeah, got to meet some people that are not famous but are cool to me because I've followed for a long time.
Just through social media, like their social media accounts you follow or whatever? Okay.
Yeah. Then got to meet them in person. Really, really great people. So yeah, it was really cool. Good experience for me. Filmed a lot of content.
So is that more like for fun, or do you feel like it actually adds value to your business based on like what you're learning there? Or sometimes at these conventions, like I get asked to go a lot to food shows in Chicago or whatever, and I'm just like, oh God, shoot me now, you know? Like I do not want to do that.
Yeah.
So it's obviously more fun if you're going to Orlando, somewhere warm, especially this time of the year. But how do you view that? Is that like, I'm sure it's exciting because of the weather, but like, do you feel like you actually take a lot away from that?
It's been a mix in past years. There's some years where the stuff I learn, I'm like, oh, this is groundbreaking. It's going to completely reshape how I think about home design and my business and stuff. I feel like I missed on a lot of the sessions this year, and just we're in some bad ones. So like the learning side of it, the education events and stuff, I don't feel like I picked a ton up from that. I will say the camaraderie is real. Like Steiner Homes obviously is the company I work with the most. So to be around their people face to face, like I deal with these people every day, but I don't see them very often, you know, except for some of the salespeople that we're in meetings with. So to be around them and actually get to spend time with everybody is, it's been really, really good. So yeah, it's been cool.
Nice. Yeah. Do you feel like you can earn any new business through that, or not so much?
Yeah, I think here and there. I don't know. I didn't go with that being the goal. Like, I'd love to get a builder that does 10 to 20 homes a year outside of our market, whether that's Michigan or Tennessee or Colorado, and just be their guy, because I think that'd be fun for my business and a great revenue stream, obviously. But it's really hard to find the right size builder. Like, if they're doing 100 homes a year, they probably have in-house design, and they don't need me. You know, so I'm not like fishing trying to find the perfect builder in there, but it's been good.
Nice.
What's up with you?
So I guess the last time we had met up, one of the things that I had talked about was potentially rebranding one of our restaurants in Cherville, which we didn't do. We actually closed that restaurant and sold the liquor license. We were able to sell the business to, not the business because they did rebrand the new owner, but we were able to sell the liquor license, the equipment, furniture, all that to a new tenant and the who's partners with the landlord. So it just kind of came. It just felt right because it's the one restaurant that's not in Valpo, still Northwest Indiana. It's just like, when we talk about capacity and what we are able to handle based on like how the structure of our businesses are set up, we don't have a whole lot of extra overhead to be able to like manage these facilities outside of just the general manager doing that. So it just felt like it was the right thing to do because of that, it was like runs kind of sloppily. And I just didn't really I wasn't proud of that restaurant and just felt like, it's time to make a change. So as he's been pretty successful so far off the gate, he's still kind of in his honeymoon period. But I think from what he's told me, it's been busy, and so that's good for them, and it is a good market. But it didn't make sense for us, and it now provides us an opportunity to just kind of stay focused on what we're doing in Valpo, and it's kind of a tough climate right now for restaurants, just with like the cost of food, the cost of labor. Sales have been down just because the economy hasn't been great. So it's been more that we've had to manage and not as easy to make money. So we've had to grind it out a little bit more in terms of like marketing and doing email blasts and being all over Facebook and making sure that we're like, all over just operating the restaurant as a whole in terms of like making, cleaning the bathrooms like every hour, it's just like the basics, doing those really well so that we're like having a really, high guest perception when customers come through, because you just got to fight for their business. So that's kind of been what we've been focusing on now, and having one less restaurant, especially one that's like 40 minutes away, not on the books anymore, has helped simplify that. So it's been good. It's always hard to do that though. If it's kind of like you're firing 25 people, at once. Yeah. Like, hey, I'm sorry, it's not working, and they were, it went okay. They're pretty understanding, and they understood that where we were at, and it wasn't like printing money out there. So it was a good thing overall. So been doing that. We got, our 4th Airbnb live in our apartment building. So those are doing okay. It's just, you're coming out of winter, and winter is not, I feel like in this market, especially the weather we've had this year, it's not been good for business. Like, just up and down with snow. And then a lot of the snow.
Yeah, we've had a lot of big snowfalls.
Yeah, we have. And it might not feel, if you live here, it might not feel like it's been a ton, but it's been a fair amount. And the bad thing about it when we've gotten snow is it's been on the weekends, and that's when we make our money in the restaurant. So it's like you really need those weekends, especially during the winter when it's a little bit slower. So that was kind of the challenge, is just having a lot of weekends where it snowed and it's like sales are down 50% because of the weather.
Yeah.
But there's been a lot of that stuff, just kind of focusing on the basics and some boring stuff, But it feels exciting now. It's starting to warm up a little bit. We've had a couple 60-degree days, and it just feels like the page is turning, and we're heading into a new season.
Yeah.
So the clocks are changing on Sunday or next week. So this weekend. So yeah, there's a lot to be excited about. It's just that like the winter can kind of drag on.
Yeah.
So
I'm wearing shorts today. Like, I'm ready.
Yeah.
It's
well, it does. I'm surprised you're not in your flip flops. Honestly,
I have socks, but I did bring flip flops.
Gosh. Yeah. So all right. So let's talk about the Bears. So everyone kind of knows what's going on if you follow sports. The Bears are interested in Northwest Indiana, specifically Hammond. And as Bears fans, Adam and I are pretty excited about this. We're one of the few, groups of people that are excited about it, people that live in Northwest Indiana that are Bears fans.
Yeah.
Most there's, most people that live here are Bears fans, but you have some Colts fans, and then the majority of Bears fans, I would say, are like in the city of Chicago and the suburbs and everything. So we're excited about it. And everyone on sports media is saying that it's not going to happen. The people that we follow, but we do. I have some connections down at the state, and I kind of feel like it is going to happen. I would bet on it at this point, and we should find out pretty soon. So, what is your perspective, Ben, on this? The idea of the Bears moving. I mean, it is a little weird, but what's going on in your mind about that whole thing?
Yeah, I think so. To back up big picture, I think it's pretty obvious that the Bears don't want to stay in Soldier Field, and I get why they don't. I think the city of Chicago would want, like most Bears fans I talk to, would most want the Bears to stay in some downtown area. Specifically, the lakefront is very cool. It's a very pretty place for a stadium. Everything else is really bad about the stadium environment. It's super hard to get to. There's not a lot around it because it's like isolated on the museum campus side of this downtown area. So if you're not from the area, like
parking is pretty impossible.
Yep.
Lakeshore Drive backs up like crazy.
Yeah. They did a retrofit on a really old stadium. So like the amenities and stuff in there aren't nice. It's probably one of the worst stadium experiences in the NFL.
Outside of like watching it on TV is awesome.
Yeah. Yeah. There's a ton of pretty shots. But yeah, actually going to the game. And the Bears don't own the stadium. The stadium is owned by Chicago Parks. So I could see why the Bears ownership wants a place of their own.
Well, and they can only do so much because the Friends of the Parks, that organization, like they're not going to let them take any more of that land or do any sort of expand. It's really hard to do anything on that site. So they've known that for a while, and while I think they would, initially they were looking at staying at least in that general area, and they quickly realized like this is not going to work. Then they started looking at Arlington, bought that land, bought the racetrack land, and that's been going on for like 3 years now. Yeah. And they haven't made any headway with the politicians up there. So in December, they announced that they were going to expand their search to Northwest Indiana. Everyone's thinking, they're using it as leverage, which they probably are to some extent. Like who wouldn't? But over the last couple months, it got more real. January and into February, as of like 2 to 3 weeks ago, it got very, very real, and Bears fans in Chicago started to understand like, oh, that this was not just like a leverage play.
Yeah.
So that's kind of where we're at now. And as I listen to Chicago sports media like Waddle and Sylvie and The Score and some of these other stations, it seems like, I don't know if they're just saying this, but it seems like they don't really know where it's going to be going if it were to go in Hammond. But from my understanding, from the conversations I've had, they're planning on going on the Lost Marsh Golf Course in Hammond. This isn't like 100% confirmed, but they're toying around with making the Lost Marsh a 9-hole course, and then taking the other 9 holes, that land, and doing their stadium development there. Yeah. So I actually drove out there last week because I had to go to the Department of Revenue in Maryville, and I was like, I'm just going to drive over there. I've never been to the Lost Marsh Golf Course. I do golf, but I just haven't been out there. So I drove out there, and it was interesting. I mean, it's like there's a lot of steel mills. It's not the prettiest area, but I think the benefit of this site is like it's kind of a blank slate. Like if you go to Arlington, like you've got a lot of land right there, but just in terms of like the infrastructure and like creating new roadways and ingress and egress like into that site to make it work. Not only with like, not only that, but then just like trying to figure out who's paying for that. And I'm sure the city or the state would pony up some money for infrastructure needs. But it's just like at the end of the day, who do you want to be doing business with? Like everyone has their opinions of Illinois and how it's run and all that. And it's almost like, I'm a little biased, but it's almost exactly the opposite living in Indiana. Like things could always be better, but I feel like, just from what I know, Indiana like always operating out of a surplus, and Illinois consistently operating out of a deficit. It's kind of like, if I were the owner of the Bears, that's kind of what I would be thinking about. Like, who do I want to be doing business with long term? Who's got the better track record? Obviously, it's painful to move outside of the city of Chicago, but it's, as everyone's saying, it's 20 minutes from Soldier right now, and so it's not that much of a change. But it's for a lot of Bears fans, it's a tough pill to swallow. Not having to drive to Indiana for a Bears game.
There's a few things there. I think there's a huge perception. I think Illinois people don't love Indiana. If I can say that nicely.
I'm married to one of them who's come around, but she grew up in Northbrook, and she was like, her family has a place in Sawyer, Michigan. So every weekend when they would drive up in the summer, it was like, just get through Indiana and then we're okay. Like, it's not that bad. You're driving through Gary's the problem.
Yeah. So I get that there's a big perception thing there. And so I think a lot of Bears fans, just the thought of the team being in Indiana is worse than it being in Illinois. But I totally agree. Like, I think Hammond is closer to downtown than Arlington. It's probably easier to get to. Like, I think the perception is bad, but I think Hammond is, logistically speaking, a way better site than Arlington is.
Yeah, and that's easy for us to say because we live here, and it's like, well, driving 20 minutes to a Bears game, and you don't even have to go into the city is like, it's gonna be great, know. But like, if we lived in Lake Forest or Winnetka or Evanston, like, that would suck,
good point. Right. But also from the Bears ownership perspective, like, regardless of where you are politically, it's pretty obvious Indiana wants to work with the Bears way more than the state of Illinois does. And that work with means dollars. And I think, as we've seen in stadium deals all across sports, the owners are going to pick the option that gives them the most dollars. Most of the time, that's what it comes down to. And so that's why I've always thought the Indiana thing is pretty real. Is because there's just too much money on the table. Whether that's tax breaks or infrastructure help, or like, I think everything along the line, every line item on that checklist is going to be better on the Indiana side than it would on the Illinois side. I think the only thing Illinois has for it is the perception of, like, I don't know. I feel like the Bears moving from Soldier to Arlington feels like less of a move than from moving to Soldier to Hammond.
Yeah. There's a salary cap in NFL, right?
Yes.
Okay, but like not in baseball.
Right. There's no, so that's another really interesting point. I don't know where, like, if they move the stadium to Hammond, are they now taxed as Indiana residents, all the players? Because that's a positive for the players as well. Indiana has way lower state income tax than Illinois.
Yeah, it would be like, I think it's like a percentage. It's like 3.2 versus 4.6 or something like that.
Okay.
I mean, that's just one of the things. One of the things that we can talk about of how it would benefit.
Yeah.
The organization.
Yeah. So, also, I know the Portage thing isn't as real, but it should be. The Portage site would be, honestly, I know I'm horribly biased here. The renderings they did for the Portage site is adjacent to a subdivision that I've done a lot of work in. Like, I've designed a bunch of homes that would be backing up to the new Bears stadium if they went there. And like, I realize that's the least real option, but I do think it'd be the coolest site because it's on a marina. Like what the Seattle Seahawks have. Like, you could boat gate pretty easily. And I know, like, the Bears stadium is on the lake right now, but nobody, I don't know, based on marina access and stuff, it's different.
You can't like pull in right there.
Yeah. Whereas I think
hard.
if the Bears moved to Portage, you would be able to. They'd figure out something. And that would make
they would
stuff.
expand it. I was talking to our mutual friend who was a big part of that, and he was saying they were going to expand expand the marina, so there was more options to tie up your boats and sailgate, as he called it. So
which would be so sad. And that would be by far the option that impacted my personal business's bottom line the most. That would,
I think the problem with that one is like it's not almost like the concept of Bitcoin. It's like not backed by anything. Like the dollar is backed by the Fed. So like the state is involved in the Hammond one. This was all private equity in Portage. So it's kind of like you're working with some random investor or this investor group, you know, and you're kind of putting a lot of trust and faith in them as opposed to like having this project actually backed by the state. So while it was a really attractive deal, it's like, what if it all falls through or something crazy happens and it's like this turns out to be a mess, you know?
Yeah.
So that would be, you know, if I were the Bears, I guess that would be my concern with that. And like it's way farther away from, you know, add another half an hour to your drive. So, you know, the Hammond one makes sense because of the proximity. It's literally right across the border.
Yeah, it's super close.
Yeah. So it's passed through the Senate and the House in Indiana, this bill, SB 27, and then they were trying to pass a mega stadium bill in Illinois, and that I was kind of confused because it passed through like the first stage or the first part of that process, but then it kind of died, and that was on Thursday, and then their session ends until March 18th or 15th or 18th, and then they resume, and it's kind of like, if you're the Bears, what do you do? Do you wait until that time, or do you just say like, well, we got to move forward. If it's not gonna pass. I mean, what about Illinois? Like they've been going through this process for 3 years. You know, what's going to change? I guess the only thing that could change is now their feet are held to the fire a little bit because Indiana's passed it. And there's nothing else the state has to do here. So at this point they'll probably wait. It's already March. You know, it's a couple more weeks, and it's just hard to know. You know how long. I know the Bears want to move, make a decision, and get some shovels in the ground, but. We'll just, you know, I think at this point it's quick enough to where they'll probably stick around for another month and wait and see what the state of Illinois does. But yeah, in terms of like, you know, income tax would be way better for the players and the people working there. I had heard again from a pretty reputable source that they were planning on moving Hallis Hall as well. And then there were reports last week about them saying no, which is their practice facility. That's in Lake Forest, and a lot of the players live in Lake Forest, and I would imagine that most of those players would prefer to live in Lake Forest as opposed to like Gary.
Hammond, yeah. Yeah. I could see
I mean, they could live in Southwest Michigan. I think people that had families, they could get land out here for pretty cheap, you know, in like Valpo or Chesterton or some of those cities. There might be some of that, but like the Caleb Williamses and the DJ Moores and, you know, the people that are making like bank or are going to make really good money, you know, and are younger, I would think either want to live in downtown or, you know, on the water in Lake Forest.
Yeah,
so,
right. Like the draw of better schools and more land.
It's just if your practice facility is in Indiana, it's like our property taxes are capped at 1%. You know, so like we might see a property tax increase through this project, but that's only going to be based on the assessed value going up because of this new project. So like the percentage of what we pay in terms of property taxes is not going to change. Where like in Illinois, it's set up completely differently, you know, and so they would be, I think we've seen that over the last, since COVID, you know, just people flooding into this area, more so like Crown Point because it's closer to Chicago. But there's a lot of people doing that just because they can save a lot of money, you know?
Right.
Yeah,
the big thing is property tax. The property tax bill we hear about, I hear this all the time, when the property tax bill difference. And I imagine if you're an NFL player and you're spending $3 to $5 million on a place, like that's a lot of money.
That's huge.
That is a lot of money. Another thing that makes this weird is like the Bears don't really have, at least to my understanding, they don't really have a deadline. Like it's not like Chicago Parks is kicking them out.
No, their lease ends 2032 or something like that. 2033. I don't know.
And like I think if they were to release with the city, that would be the easiest option for them. Like, they could probably just do that. So there's no real pressure for them to go anywhere other than they want a stadium. I wonder how much. So the Bears are owned by the McCaskey family. George Halas was married to Virginia McCaskey, and she has sole ownership right now. I think. I don't know if it's.
Well, she's dead.
Oh yeah, Virginia passed away. That's right.
Yeah. Wow. So now it's George.
I forgot about that. I totally forgot about that.
Yeah. They had those big patches.
Yes.
Yeah.
Wow. That was last football season, right?
Yeah. This past year.
So, yeah, this is.
But I don't. To your point, I don't think that George has full ownership. I think he has controlling ownership.
Yeah.
I don't know the details, but I want to say like that
because there's some siblings in there, right? That.
No, it's just George. He has a son, Connor, but I don't really know anything about him. He keeps a pretty low profile. I think he is involved though, but I think it's just George.
Interesting.
Yeah, but you know, like everyone says, they're kind of like cash poor. I mean, they're billionaires.
Yeah,
but they're very incentivized to find a very attractive deal. And I guess going back to my salary cap point, what I was thinking was like, well, if you're saving more money and you're not giving that money to the government, then you have more money to, invest in really good players. Which that point, that doesn't make sense because there is a salary cap, right?
Yeah.
But to that point, you have more money to invest in making your site extremely attractive and like an entertainment district. And there's more money for the ownership to reinvest as opposed to give back to the state.
Yeah. 100%.
Taxes, yeah. So one of the funding mechanisms for this is there would be a 1% food and beverage tax in Lake and Porter County, and we're in Porter County. And there would be a 5% hotel tax just in Lake County. So, they're talking about doing some. I don't think they have. I thought they had sold the rights to the toll road, but they're talking about restructuring the toll road to generate some money for the stadium through that.
Yeah.
So those are kind of the three things that I've heard about. There's how the state would contribute money. I mean, they keep saying it's going to be very similar to the Lucas Oil Stadium deal, and that has been very successful, I think, for downtown Indy.
Yeah.
And there's almost just as many people living up here than there are in Marion County. So the potential to really benefit from this and have like year-round events would be awesome, because they keep asking that question, like you keep hearing that question on the media, like, do you really want, as a taxpayer, do you really want to be funding this project? And it's kind of it's a tough question to answer because there's 8 games a year at home, so it's like, well, you have to build these massive stadiums, and NFL is profitable. But it's like, it's not like baseball where it's used all summer, So it's kind of like, well, if it means that there's an organization that is running this and that is getting more events in the region year round, that's going to be a big benefit. And it's kind of like, is that 100% on the Bears to, they're providing the opportunity for us to have this big structure in the region, and they're not using it all that much.
Yeah.
So, do you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, totally.
I don't personally, I don't really have a problem with it, and knowing that like how we're going to be funding it, or how like at least the taxpayer would be funding it, which would be like the 1% food and beverage tax. If you go out to eat in a restaurant and you spend $100, it's an extra $1 that goes to this. We had the same thing with our restaurants in Indy and Carmel. They had an additional 1% tax, and like no one ever, said anything about it. I mean, this was to fund Lucas Oil. I think in Carmel it was to fund maybe the Palladium, that big concert venue they have down there. I think I don't know for a fact, but it was kind of just like this. It's how it is down here, and so it wasn't that big of a deal. And so I think I don't think it would impact the restaurants that negatively to have an additional 1% tax if it meant having. I do kind of see like the Lake County restaurants benefiting more from having the stadium out there, because we are a good half an hour away,
right,
from where it would be on the Lost Marsh Golf Course. But and we're paying, or not we're paying, but like our customers are paying the additional 1%, and it's the same amount that they'd be paying in Lake County. So I mean, that's, like I said, I mean, it's like our property taxes aren't going to be going up. It's going to cost an extra $1 when we go out to eat. But for what it could mean to this community or to Northwest Indiana, and how it could like reignite the economy, an economy that's already pretty strong, at least in like our area. I think it could be a really big thing for us, and impact our business. I mean, a ton more people moving here that need houses built and houses designed. I think like a project like this raises all boats,
Yeah, 100%. Like, realistically, am I going to be involved in any projects that touch the stadium or adjacent to that parcel? Like, no, I'm not designing the apartments and condos that are going to go up next to it if it moves, right? But to your point, all that stuff puts pressure on the surrounding markets, then puts pressure, like there's going to be more homes built because people are just moving around a lot, and jobs created and stuff. So yeah, I'm all for it. I think it'd be cool. I don't mind that. Like, I don't go to that many Bears games,
No, me either, but I would.
Definitely.
I mean, I'm considering getting season tickets if they move here, and at least splitting them with someone, to be able to go to like a few games a year, just because it's so close.
Right.
I would definitely do that. But yeah, right now I don't go to a whole lot of, mainly because it's so expensive, and it's really hard to get there. So it is the smallest stadium in the NFL.
Yeah.
Right now. So
what are your thoughts on a dome?
I mean, it's I get it, like why you have to do it,
It kind of seems like a done deal, right? Like it's gonna be
it'll be domed. And they'll get at least one Super Bowl because of that.
Yeah.
Which like is crazy to think about, us having a Super Bowl like 20 minutes that way.
Yeah.
The other benefit is like we're far enough removed to where it's not gonna be like, oh, it's Bears game day traffic.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like that would be slightly annoying if it was in Valpo or Chesterton or maybe even Portage.
And your church is up there or something.
Yeah. Right.
It takes you an hour and a half. Get there.
Yeah, exactly. I didn't even think about that. Yeah. Every Sunday.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's going to be domed. And it's, as Bears fans, everyone talks about is bear weather and, January. It's like, I would never dream of going to one of those games. Whenever I look for tickets, it's always like September or like early October,
You did in college. You would do.
I did.
Winter games.
Yeah. No, that was high school. Yeah, that was senior year of high school. My buddy had front row seats from his aunt, and we had ESPN on our chest.
You got on TV, right?
We got on TV.
You did it.
It was against the Falcons. It was like, at that time, it was the coldest game wind chill wise. We only lasted, I think, the first quarter, the first half. We had a little bit of like liquid courage in our system to help, but at some point that wears off, and you're like, all right, let's go home.
That's hilarious.
I'm sure we lost. But yeah, so it is kind of like a blow to the ego of the Bears, like that grit of having like an awesome defense that can handle, frigid weather and Brian Urlacher, Lance Briggs, all that, So it makes you feel a little soft to play in a dome, but like, again, it's 8 games a year, you have to capitalize on this investment more so than just the summertime and football games,
Yeah.
So I don't know. I mean, in a perfect world, it would be retractable and you'd leave it open and like you'd keep it like somewhat climate controlled, even in the winter.
Yeah.
But just have like the stadium to where you could get some snowfall. I know like the Bills' new stadium, the seats are covered, so they don't have to shovel the seats anymore, which I'm sure they'll love.
Yeah.
But
It's a big
I
part of the
don't know
economy,
how
though.
like climate controlled that will feel. Like if you go to a game, it's still probably gonna feel cold.
Yeah.
But
I just hate, as a football fan, I don't mind dome games. But I don't want 100% of the games, and that it looks like that's the direction we're going, is every team that builds a new stadium other than Buffalo has put a roof on it. And I don't want to
well, especially in just the cold weather market.
I don't want to look back in 15 years and be like, oh, I have to explain to my kids what outdoor football is.
Yeah.
Because it's just not on TV anymore.
It'll become a novelty.
Yeah.
When you see that.
Which is kind of a bummer, but I don't know. It does kind of come back to the McCaskey family, like you mentioned. They're the outlier in sports ownership. Most sports owners became billionaires doing something and then bought a team as a fun, like, side project, right? The McCaskies are the opposite of, like, inherited this thing, and this is the family business. This is all they've ever done. And it's an awesome business. Like you said, they're billionaires. They're not poor.
Bought the team for like $100.
Yeah,
Or something.
something stupid like that. But because of that, it does drive some of these decisions of, like, they maybe need to make, every owner wants to make money with their team, but they maybe need to make money at a different rate or interval than other owners do, or think about that more. Like, it's more top of mind for them. And I think as far as like payment goes, I'm sure they could leverage their name and get a loan for all this and be fine. But like, most owners of most teams could pay for a new stadium. Whereas I think the McCaskies don't have in a bank account somewhere enough to pay for any stadium.
I mean, they're talking $5 billion.
Yeah, right. So like, to get that done, they're gonna need some sort of. I think they're gonna need some sort of help from states, like the state dollars and the marginal fractions that come into play between Illinois and Indiana. I think matter more because their situation's different.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree 100%. Yeah, I don't know. We'll see what happens. We'll find out soon. But
When do you think we will find out? Do you know?
well, the Illinois session, once they resume in a couple weeks, it then ends, I think, at the end of May.
Okay.
So by that time, I mean, I don't know. It's hard to imagine. Like, you got to imagine they're going to pass something, you know?
Yeah.
Like, I don't think Illinois can offer what Indiana can offer in terms of tax breaks.
Right.
It's just, it's kind of crazy hearing Chicago sports fans or Chicago sports media talking about, like, look at what the taxpayers are going to have to suffer because of this project in Indiana. They're just giving it away. And it's kind of like, that's how you guys operate in Illinois on a regular basis. You know, like, we pay lower taxes here. You know, it might increase the taxes a little bit, but it's nowhere near what you guys spend in tax dollars.
Yeah.
You know, and like Brandon Johnson is already talking about wanting to spend another $650 million on Soldier after the Bears move out to make it better and make it to where they can book more concerts or something. I don't think they're gonna close it in as a dome, but they want to invest a ton of money into it. And the Chicago taxpayers already owe an additional $500 million on Soldier from the initial expansion that was done in 2001.
Yeah. Oh, that's crazy. I didn't even realize that.
Yeah.
It's nuts.
So they're still on the hook for that, and he wants to put in another $600 million or something like that to improve it again. Yeah. You know, so it's kind of like, I mean, you want to talk about like tax implications and what the taxpayers are on the hook for. It's kind of like, this would be huge for our community. Some people, not everyone wants it, but you know, maybe 60%, and that's pretty good. You know, and I think it's gonna impact the economy in a great way. For our area.
I think if they were to move here or anywhere, what will happen is until the first game, people will really be mad about it, and you'll hear all the calls to sports radio and people crying about how can't believe the family moved and I've lived in Chicago for 3 generations and my grandpa used to, you know, all that stuff will be all summer. And then once they play a game there,
I don't know. I think I could see that lasting a while. You know, like I finally made it to the game and went to a game in Hammond, and it is like if they don't do enough reinvesting in that area, which I think they will, but like if it might take a little bit of time.
Yeah.
And if it looks pretty rough there, people are gonna like make comments I could see them making comments for at least a season or two. You know?
I think it's tops a few games, and then everybody forgets about it.
Yeah,
and
I
move
hope
on
so.
as normal. And like, it's not going to affect tickets. It's not going to affect like everybody's still going to go if the team's good. You know, if that's the biggest factors, are they
Right.
good or not? Even when they were bad, they'll sell out. They'll be fine.
Yeah.
And I think that's part of in the McCaskey mind.
It's the most
too, of, like,
expensive ticket in football, I think.
the Bears game
games.
is.
Yeah, Bears
Wow.
games.
I didn't realize that either.
So it's kind of like, part of that is there's only 60,000 seats in the stadium,
Yeah.
but it's the lowest in the NFL. But there's so much demand. I mean, it's a big market. Chicago's a big
It's
market.
the biggest undivided market in the NFL. Because New York and LA both have multiple teams,
Right.
so it's like,
And like both of those teams. I mean, the Rams, I guess, were originally there, but like, you know, the Chargers were San Diego for a long
Right,
time.
right.
So a lot of those fans are San Diego still.
yeah.
Yeah. So, so we'll see what happens. I mean, I'm excited about it. I really hope it goes through. I'm leaning. If I were to bet, like the poly market odds, I think were higher for Indiana than it was to stay in Illinois.
That's super interesting. Yeah.
Yeah. Let me check right now. It was 30% for Indiana. And then it was a really high percentage that they don't move, which like they are moving.
That's interesting too.
And then
Well, like we said, there's no real deadline, so I could see this all just kind of blowing
because
over and them not.
this,
going
and
anywhere.
this expires in 2028, which is still a ways away. But so, wow. Okay, so it's flipped. Initially, it was Indiana was at 30%. A new location in Illinois was at like 17%, and then do not relocate or announce a relocation before 2028 season was at like whatever the rest is. Like it was really high. 50, I don't know. So now it's a new location in Illinois is at 62%. So this flipped on February 28th. This opened on the 26th. Then it flipped. March 1st, it flipped.
Oh, weird. There was some news about their session around then, right? There was
No, because March
No.
1st was 2 days ago.
Oh yeah, it was yesterday.
Yeah. So, I don't. Yeah. Now it's 62 and 30, and then do not relocate or announce a relocation is at 10%. So, I think now that the Chicago market has seen that, I mean, it changes as people bet on it. You know.
Yeah.
And most people want it to be in Illinois, but I don't know. I think I'm still voting for Indiana.
Yeah.
So we'll see what happens.
It's the realest it's ever been.
Yeah.
Like there's talk about it. I mean, I don't know. I feel like there's been talk
Big
about
talk.
it for a long time, but
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So, and then last year we did, I kind of talked about the Masters, how we did the Masters menu.
Oh yeah.
So that actually went really well. And, a lot of people have been asking about doing it this year. So we're kind of excited about doing it because the Masters is a month away. So we're working on, or we're getting ready for it, but we're going to be working on Rory's menu for the Masters. So we basically just like copy everything that he does. We figure out like a couple weeks in advance what he's going to be serving. And then we, develop our own recipes that what we think it would be like.
Is it all weird Scottish stuff?
We don't know
he
yet.
Scottish?
Irish, Northern
Yeah.
Ireland.
Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, it'll be something Irish, I'm sure, but, so yeah, people are excited about that. And, I'm looking forward to watching, the golf season, getting back in action and watching some Masters, in a month. So,
Yeah.
so that's one of the things in terms of sports that like has impacted our business. Last year we did the it's a great time of year for sports,
Yes, it
baseball
is.
starting. Football just ended, so that's like the one downside, and that's my favorite.
Yeah.
But getting into March Madness.
Yeah, we're 2 weeks away from brackets.
So it's an exciting time, and I think you can do a lot, at least with my businesses, with the restaurants, to like play into that, whether it's just marketing, like we've got the games on, or like last year we did a bracket challenge at one of our restaurants, and just to encourage people to watch the games at our restaurants, you know, as opposed to going to B-Dubs or somewhere like that.
Yeah.
And then you give away $100 gift card to whoever wins, something like that, you know?
Right.
So just getting in that mindset, people are like starting to get, as like we head into the spring and then the summer, like people are ready. I feel like it's good. People spend a little bit more money, you know, during those times, cause it's easier to get out and stuff. So just trying to capitalize on some of that.
You think you'll do anything for the World Cup?
Oh, good question. I'm not a soccer guy.
Yeah, I become a little bit of a soccer guy once every 4 years.
Yeah, right.
It's just like the Olympics.
I think like weren't we not in it last time too? Like we
didn't do well.
I thought we didn't even make it or something.
I don't even.
If we're not in it, I'm not watching.
We're in it.
I know we're in it
host
this
country.
year. yeah,
we have to be in it.
Thank God. Could you imagine if we won? You know, it's like we dominated in hockey.
Yeah,
we told Canada to kick rocks and
we don't even care about hockey.
Spanked them a little bit. Yeah, we don't even care. That's their life.
Yeah,
we're about to win the World Baseball Classic again.
Oh, really? Yeah, that's going on.
That starts. Just got to take down Japan. You know, basketball is a given. We always dominate.
Yeah.
It's our sport. Yeah, I mean, we're just winners, you know, and now we win the World Cup, and
yeah,
life is going to be great.
Batting for the cycle.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, that doesn't, none of the sports talk really impacts your business at all, but.
Yeah. It's a shame too, because like I love sports. That's the thing I follow more than anything, but I don't know how I could relate. I've never had any sort of crossover.
Yeah.
Or like, other than like conversations with clients, but
yeah.
I've never done like a social media. Maybe I should do a bracket of house plans or something.
Just get people watching your channel. Start talking about sports.
Yeah.
New market.
There we go.
Yeah. Anything else going on in your world these days?
Stuff's picking up. Yeah. For the first time since COVID, and this is very normal that November and December are slow. But for the first time since COVID, November and December were actually slow for me. Mm-hmm. Like post-COVID, they were always crazy, and I've never been busier. But so had a little bit of a slow season. Not that I had a bad year or anything. It was great, but it's definitely picking back up now. I'm getting a lot of new leads, a lot of stuff, a lot more like people thinking investments. I think I've seen a pretty big shift, at least the start of this year, just getting a lot more calls of like, we want to build a rental or build a duplex, stuff like that. Whereas before it's mostly been just custom homes. So
yeah,
I don't know if I'm like touching that market more or just people are thinking about it more.
Yeah. On that topic and kind of going back to the Bears thing is because I feel like not a lot of people know where it's going next to this golf course. I've been looking in that neighborhood just to see what like houses or apartment buildings are available. There's a couple like that would be very close. And as of now, these homes are pretty cheap.
Yeah.
So you could spend $200,000 on a 2-bed, 2-bath, maybe a little bit more than that. And it would need work, you know, you need to definitely make it nice. But, you know, at the same time, the Bears have said from what I've heard from my sources, the Bears have said that they want to be in the new stadium for the 2029 season. So you still have a good 3 years where if you bought a rental property, you might get a good deal. But like then what do you do for you long-term rental for 3 years? You know, find a tenant, and then when it gets closer, when the Bears are like 6 months out or a year out, then you start your remodel.
Yeah.
And put, you know, a couple $100,000 into it or something, or 150 to make it like really cool. You know, that's I don't know. I've thought about it, but like I don't know if I really want to tie up my money in that market when it's just kind of an unknown. Like the potential upside is there, but it's kind of like if money, time, and limit your resources are limited, like where do you want to put that, your energy and your time and your money? You know?
Yeah.
And so I don't know if I'll do that, but it's fun to look at, and if the right thing came along, and I'd consider it. I don't know.
There was a new subdivision that went in, I don't know, a couple of years ago now, and all the lots have been sold. And like, I designed a few Steiner homes, built a handful of them, and it's like right by Lost Marsh. And
they're not. I don't think they're gonna like buy up all these houses and the Bears.
Yeah. No. So like that would be awesome rental properties or
Yeah, that would be. It kind of has like a little bit of a Lambo vibe in that sense. Like having these like, it's not very big, but there's definitely like this neighborhood with just like rows of houses that, if the Bears went there, like I'm sure the houses will get sold or like reinvested into.
Yeah.
And it could be kind of cool, but still have that like neighborhood charm.
Definitely.
So the property itself out there, I know now we're getting back on this, but like the property itself was actually kind of interesting because when you drive up, you kind of go up on this hill. It was pretty scenic outside of like, if you look to the right and the left and straight in front of you, there's steel mills everywhere. It's gonna be cool, I swear. There's a big lake right in front of you.
If you stand in this one spot where a tree is blocking your view to the east,
you kind of squint.
you have blinders on.
Yeah,
it's beautiful.
No, it does look cool. I mean, the steel mills, when they're far enough away, it kind of looks like, oh, there's the skyline. And you got to be squinting.
Yeah,
but I don't know. It was kind of a cool view. There's a big church on the other side of the lake, like a cool looking church.
That being Wolf Lake?
No, Wolf Lake is to the left. They keep talking about, that's
Okay.
all they're saying is like a property near Wolf Lake. But there's this other lake on the golf course, like right next to the golf course.
Oh, yeah.
Or on the golf course. So it was kind of a cool view. Like in the background, you could see downtown Whiting and this church, and it's kind of, but it does have that neighborhood vibe.
Yeah.
That I've never been to Lambeau, but what I would imagine it is up there.
Yeah.
So it could be cool, but man, yeah, there's a lot of steel mills out there.
There is.
You drive through have you ever driven through them? Like,
not like through the, but yeah, going that way.
I mean, especially this time of the year when everything's gray.
Yeah. And
little,
it just looks extra gray.
Yeah, it looked pretty bad.
I'm actually not super excited. Yeah, we're on tangent again. I'm not super excited to have a Super Bowl. Like, I think it'd be fun and cool.
It's 1 week of our lives. Who cares?
But all it's going to be is people complaining about the cold in the mills, and on a national level. It's not just like Chicagoans will be like, "Oh, Indiana's." It's going to be every national reporter and from every market coming here and being like,
"Yeah, it's going to suck."
Indiana's cold, and they built a stadium right next to all the steel mills.
It's like the one time when they had it in Indy, you remember it was like so warm, like unseasonably warm. It like hit like 60 or 70.
Yeah.
In early February.
Yep.
And I was like, of course, like when we get it, it's going to be, negative wind chill.
Well, I lived in Minnesota when they got it, when the Vikings had it.
Oh, what was that like? Did they complain?
Yeah, 100%. Like, just super cold. Everybody complained. Why aren't we having this in Miami? Like, what are we doing up here? Kind of a thing.
Yeah. Okay.
It's like, okay.
Whatever. Screw them.
Is like, we're only going to get one. It's not like it's going to come back every 5 years. It's not like the Final Four.
Yeah.
Where like, or whatever, like, Lucas Oil, that stadium has hosted a bunch of big time events like that keep coming. But I don't know.
Yeah. And the Big Ten, is the Big Ten in Illinois now, or is it in Indy?
I think they keep moving back and forth. The championship this year is in Chicago.
No, I'm saying like the headquarters, because it's always every 4 years it's in Indy. To your point, they never do it in Chicago because I guess the United Center can't handle that. It's too small, right? Like it needs to be in a football stadium.
Yeah. The Final
So
Four. Yeah.
I thought that like because Cowherd just moved his studio to Illinois, didn't he?
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
He's because he's in the Big Ten headquarters. So they're either in Chicago
They're in Illinois.
or in Rosemont or something.
Rosemont, yeah.
So I don't know. Maybe I'm just thinking, would there be a way for us to get some of those here? Because that would be cool, to have Final Fours. I'm sure we'd get at the very least like first or second round.
Yeah, I would think that's part of the reason to build the dome.
Mm-hmm. March Madness.
Yeah, March Madness. Maybe even college bowl games, like the playoff games now as that's expanding.
Yeah.
Like I could see them bringing a championship game or something up this way. Although Indy hasn't got one of those yet either, so I don't know. But
yeah, there seems to be enough big events in Indy. Even when we had a restaurant down there, just like there would be random events at Lucas Oil or Bankers Life, whether it's concerts or like Final Fours or whatever, where you knew those events were coming. There was a couple a year, and it would really impact your business.
yeah.
So having something like that's like, it's not every weekend, but you got a few things to look forward to outside of your normal holidays where your sales increase, where it's like, oh, yeah, awesome. And March Madness is coming to town. Like, it's going to be great for the restaurants for a week,
Yeah.
So, yeah, but a lot happening in the world of sports and business, and it's fun to talk about, especially with you. So
Yeah, for sure, man.
enjoyed it. Anything else before we wrap it up?
I think that's it.
All right, man.
Cheers.
Thanks for watching. It's good to be back at Clink.
Lenny's.
Back at Lenny's. Yeah, thanks for watching, guys. We'll do this again periodically when we have the time. It's always fun to talk more about sports and business, small business, and what's going on in our lives, and hope you guys find that helpful and useful in your lives. So thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.
Peace out.